is to slow it down, because it has to be carried by somebody. Well, the Holocaust had to be perpetuated by somebody. The next soldier, the next act of brutality had to be enacted by someone. It didn't happen on its own. So this has been a strange time for me. Here I am, I can walk out on this beautiful surroundings. Look, there's the moon. And I can come and I can look, and the beauty is almost beyond belief. Just gorgeous. And yet, I've been studying, in that particular case, after the pandemic in 1918, I went on to study about the Second World War, and that led me into the incredibly disturbing film that is available to show what happened. Now, Eisenhower, who was the president of the States, the American Eisenhower, he had heard about how terrible all of that was, and he made a point of insisting that he wanted to see for himself, because the stories that he'd heard about how awful it was, about the brutality, bestiality of what people can do to people, was beyond belief. And he felt that if he hadn't seen it for himself, even he might well end up thinking that yes, it was beyond belief. But when I had a picture in my mind that was very local, but the camps that they set up in Poland, they set up 5 extermination camps in Poland. These were killing factories, and the scale was really beyond belief. And you really need to go and look, and they have photographs. They have photographs of aerial photographs of how vast these places were. Hundreds of thousands of people that were taken there and eventually killed. So one is reality, that you have to face the fact that we are in the middle of a pandemic, and we need to be careful. We need to take care of ourselves and our families, and we need to do what is the right for everybody, which is to try to stay away from other people at the moment. And this is difficult. It's more difficult for a lot more people than us, in particular my family, because we're isolated by all of this. It's an irony, isn't it? We're isolated by incredible beauty. For those of you who are stuck in the house, and I have lots of people writing to me telling about their own particular experience, and then there's all that comic stuff that's on there, which is people having creative moments and doing cover versions of famous songs and so on. Come on, dogs. Now we were told that it was going to be around 13th or 14th of April, which we don't have too much longer to go, but now apparently it's quite possible that it may be extended. Now for me, finding myself here, I am, according to reports, I'm one of the people most at risk because I'm 80 years old. And yet I have people of late, people who are saying, why would you go and live there, meaning where I am, and join a lot of people that are budget challenged, in other words, don't have the money to live properly elsewhere. And then someone who said, you would live in a third world country like that just because you don't want the winter, all of which is true. But the difference for me is that I am exactly where I want to be, and I'm living a life that I love. And I wonder how many people can say that. How many people can honestly say that they are where they want to be, doing what they want to do, living the life that they want to live. So while it's really important to be looking at all of those things that you are grateful for, and all of those things perhaps that you would like to change, to be in gratitude is much more important than to look at whether you're dissatisfied with the way that things are. I spent most of my life, most of it as a musician, and if you boil music, art, the visual arts, the oral arts, if you boil all of those down, it boils down to admiration. If a man decides that he wants to be a comedian, the road to being a successful comedian is so incredibly hard that nobody does it for money. They do it for the feeling that they get of recognition, of admiration. Even people who are in the movies, they do it for the admiration, for the creation of a good effect which they are proud of, and which it's the applause. When the business researchers, people who are into what is making business successful, they looked at what was more sought after. Was it the acknowledgement of being a great employee, of doing a good job, a pat on the back, or was it a bonus? Which one was more important? And amazingly, even though everybody wants to have the bonus, it was the acknowledgement that was more important. That's why when you go into a McDonald's have it down, don't they? They have Employee of the Month, and they send their Employee of the Month, and they send them out to a photographer, and they have a photograph, a portrait, proper portrait, no expense spared. They do it well, and they have it framed, and they have the legend underneath, Employee of the Month, Harry, whoever, and that goes up in a place of honour in wherever the branch of McDonald's is. Obviously I think that they get a few bucks as well, but they do that, and the recognition is highly prized. People are proud that they've been recognised as such. So the whole thing of doing something which is fulfilling is of the utmost importance. Now, as I said, most of my life I spent on stage. And I wasn't in a top 40 band. I was in a top 40 band that simply covered, by way of entertainment for functions, they would cover any hit parade material at all. So if something came into the hit parade, then one of the singers in the band I was in for the longest 7 years or so, I was in a band, and we covered the top 40, the most popular songs, and whoever was most capable of that particular kind of song got it, worked on it, and learned to sing it, and then performed it. And we performed them every night as long as they were popular. So there was admiration, acknowledgement, come on guys, look at that, somebody's dumped something or other. Oh, they'll be coming back for that. Not quite sure what that will be. Maybe sacks of charcoal. Yeah, probably charcoal. So it's not trash, it's charcoal. And this is a well-worn path, look, so it's going right down there. Come on boys. So I went through my whole life thinking in those terms, that the most important thing was to be on stage, to be successful at that. And success for me was not world renowned. It was that I would be successful enough to earn a good living, be able to buy a house and a car, and support myself and my family. That was success. And I had varying degrees of success on that, but of course the push for any performer is that they will have not just an element of fame, but fortune. Now, I never got past the stage of being successful enough. Uh-oh, we better turn around. Come on boys. Oh, no need to tell them. So I never got past that stage, but I enjoyed a lot of acknowledgement, some admiration and praise, and some popularity. So that was good a good life for me. I had a fun life, travelled to many parts of the world. But it took coming out to what our subscribers described as